Hi guys, and welcome back to another All Heart video. For today's video, as you can see, we are in our playroom. Yes, the time has finally come where we get to show you around our playroom. I'm sorry that it took so long. It really wasn't my fault. It just took a while to figure out how we were going to basically construct this space from scratch. When we first moved here, although we fell in love with the house and it had such good bones, a great foundation, great neighborhood, this house was pretty outdated, and a lot of the rooms we are still working on and tackling little by little. This was the first room that we wanted to get done. It was really a priority of mine to have a space for my kids to be able to play and to basically kind of start afresh. We moved to North Carolina a year and a half ago, and we were renting our previous home just to give us time to really explore the area and see where we wanted to purchase our home. And so it was tough to kind of lay down roots in an area and in a space that is only temporary. So I really wanted to make sure that the first thing that we finished was this room so that the kids could finally feel at home and they could kind of get back that normalcy that was missing for the past year. It's a struggle when you have such a big life change to try and get your children to feel at home. And so that was really, really something that was important to me. So here we are, our space is finally done. This room, there was nothing here, guys. It was completely barren. There were wires hanging from the wall. There was no sheetrock. There was no drywall, no flooring. You could really just see a lot of the insulation in certain areas. There was no electrical. So we were just like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a big project. And it really was. But I'm quite happy with the way that this area has turned out. So a while back, one of my earlier videos back in 2020, I mentioned that there should be about 5 categories when you start to situate that foundation for your playroom. And that still holds true now. I really do believe in those 5 categories. You should have an area where your children can move, so a movement area, a language area, an arts and crafts area, a practical life area or pretend play, and lastly, an area where your child can work on their hand and eye coordination. Now, in our past playroom, in our previous playroom, I had an area that was dedicated to my youngest baby. And so she really liked to kind of stay in that one area, and it worked out really well. Now, my youngest now, who is, now 1, she does not like to be contained in one area. She loves to be able to explore freely. And so I took that to mind when I was trying to prepare this space. So you are going to see a lot of her toys scattered around the area in a logical way, but it just really, really works for us. And I really didn't want to restrict her as she's still working on movement. She's still working on taking those first steps, and she's still crawling around. So I really didn't want to restrict that. I want her to work on those things. And so the best way for us to do that is by having her being able to explore freely in this safe space and have her toys in, all areas of the room. That way she knows where she can go and play. So I'm gonna stop talking now and let's just go ahead and show you our space.
So I wanted to quickly give you a peek into the space before we brought in any of the items. You can see that I'm starting with a blank canvas, so I didn't know where anything was going to go. So if you are starting out in a fresh space, just remember to take your time and be patient, and your vision will come to life.
So as soon as we come in, you're going to see that I left the exposed beams up on top. I really, really love that feature. And I really wanted to make sure that we exposed it. And I just think it looks so, so pretty. We did add 4 lights to this side and 4 lights to this side. And we also added in this window. There was no window here before. Everything was just so dark. So let's go ahead and start over on this corner here. So this is our quiet area, basically where we can sit down, read a nice book. It's tucked into this little corner here, and there's that sofa that I get so many questions on. It fit perfectly in this little space, and with our comfy and cozy little sign there, this space just worked out so well. I wanted to make sure to have a nice cozy area where the kids can sit, relax, and I wanted it to be next to their bookshelf. So this bookshelf is the same one that we had in our other playroom. We have a lot of their favorite books here, and I keep a lot of my daughter's books at the very bottom so that she can reach. Now, as we continue along over towards this left side, I have a lot of my daughter's toys at the bottom, and that's just because, of course, it's easier for her to reach. So a lot of the wooden toys we keep here separately in their own little cubby. Now at the top, I keep a lot of the smaller pieces. So anything that's used with our light table, like our letters and a lot of our other acrylic light table supplies, they are all here in these different containers. And I love that they're clear because then you're able to see right through them. And then I have this basket with a lot of the geometric shapes, the acrylic shapes. These are so beautiful on the light table. So we keep those up here as well as these magnetic tiles. As we move along, we have some art supplies, seeing as our art area is right next to this. So I wanted to keep that there. And then on the bottom, there's just some puzzle toys and geometric shapes that my daughter loves to play with, as well as some of her little puzzles and our Grimm's toys along here. So moving along, I did want extra seating, and these cushions have worked out so well. So we got these from Target, and we have the peach colored ones too, but those we keep in our learning room. So these we keep up here. These are perfect for when we're sitting along our light table area, or if we're sitting on the rug, it's nice and comfy. I did want to include an area here for them to be able to hang all of their art. And that is, of course, next to their art area. So I was able to find these extra long shelves. They do have an area for their paints, colored pencils, markers, scissors, paintbrushes, watercolors, and of course their watercolor paper all here. And then I have all of their letters that we had in our very first room up, and that just kind of frames the window really nicely. So right next to their art area, I do still have that table. We love this table as it's so easy to clean, and it's right next to their art area. So it's really perfectly situated. And of course, our new addition of our easel, our acrylic easel, which is right next to that. So I've basically contained all of their art areas to this area here. So along this side here, we had this pole that that was part of our foundation, so we could not move it. So what I decided to do was to build a bit of a shelf, like a little booth, so that they can either sit on it if they want to, or they could place a lot of their graphits. And that's what my children decided to do. They wanted all of their graphits alongside here. It makes it really accessible. And they've been really using it a lot more because it's basically right here in the center of our room. So it's been really nice. And the only time that I move these out of the way are when my daughter is kind of fishing through them. And that's basically just the tiniest scrap-it pieces. So these are fine. I usually leave these out and she doesn't stick them in her mouth or anything. Of course, I'm always here, or my husband is here watching her. You see here our grap-it petals. But what I'm talking about are mostly these smaller ones. So I'll just pick up this entire shelf and move it. And it's very easy to pick up and move and stack. And then I'll place it back when she's not playing with them. But other than that, this is where they stay. And I really love the way that it looks because, like I said, my children just naturally gravitate towards all the colors. So as we continue to move along this side, you will see that we start to get into our pretend play and our practical life and kitchen area. So my daughter has her fridge here with all of her food. She has all of her condiments and her little cups and ice cream cones and such. And right now they've been wanting to use their Waldorf stand as a kitchen slash bakery slash market. So it works out really, really well for them. So this is the kitchen that they got 2 years ago. I know I showcased it and it's still one of our favorite things in here. And it came along with the oven and that little washer and dryer. And my daughter has her little toaster, her cookies, and her muffins and cinnamon buns in there as well. So on this side, we have her little movable shelf, and she keeps all of her pots and pans in here, and then utensils, spoons, things to, to scoop, and all of her grap-it plates she keeps here. So we use these a lot with the grap-its, and then she also loves to use them to serve her food when she's cooking. So I just absolutely love how easy it is to move that. And then up here at the top, she has all of her fruits and veggies that we've kind of collected over the years. So some of the wooden ones, I absolutely love all of the, like the linen ones. These are my absolute favorite. I think they've kept up the best in the long run, and they just, to me, they just look so much nicer. And yeah, those are my favorite right there. She also has an area where she weighs all of her food when she sells it, and then she's able to keep track of how many she sells. So this is actually our rainbow bridge, and when they're not utilizing it as a table, then we do turn it around and it is a climber or a rocker. Right now they're using it as a table with their little cash register, like I said, and that is where they have their market, bakery, and kitchen area with their brooms. And like I said, they know exactly where their items are supposed to go because all of their kitchen area is in that specific section. I love how high the ceilings are in here as well, because it really makes the space feel bigger than it is. And like I said, I love the exposed ceiling. Okay, so now we are moving on to this corner, and this is what I call our pretend and costume corner. So before, I used to use this shelf to host kind of all of our books and notebooks and stuff like that for some of our curriculum, but I think it works so much better to hold all of the costumes and props. So they have all of their kind of miscellaneous hats on the bottom, like their pilot hats and their things for construction and their jump rope and stuff like that. Then they have everything for them to play knights and kings and queens, and they have their fireman costumes. Then when they're pirates, they have all of their pirate stuff here. And then at the very top is their astronaut helmet. So I paired that with a long-standing free mirror here. And I had made this clothing rack a while back, and it still fits all of their costumes. So they keep all of their costumes hung here. It's kind of been taken over by my daughter and a lot of her big dresses, but we still have all of our traditional costumes here. And then in this tub, we keep a lot of the props like their wands, their telescopes, their swords, and their horse when they're playing cowboy. So this corner is really nice too. I decided not to cover it up by building like a plain wall that goes down because I actually really like utilizing this space, even though it is difficult for an adult to kind of fit back here. It's perfect for your child. So I took the space as opposed to kind of building a straight wall down. So back here I have a basket with some of their play balls, and I have more of the foam padding in case they want to do some climbing and stuff like that. So that I keep back there, and it's very easy to get to. As we move along, we have their balancing board and their large blocks. I keep all of these here near the rug just because it's easier for them to pull and to set everything up on the rug whenever they want to play. Now in this basket, we have their wooden magnetic tiles. These I love. These are so nice. They're so soft and smooth, and we're able to place them on our acrylic easel as well because they're magnetic. So it's just really nice. My little girl really loves these as well. So we keep these in this basket. This is the gift that she got for her first birthday. So all of her shapes, we keep that here as well. That way it's easy for her to reach and to be able to play with them. And then of course, our Grimm's large stepped pyramid we keep here too, as it's really, really heavy. So it's just nice for them to be able to have access to it. And it's right next to the rug. Back here is where we keep their balance board. We just keep it out of the way whenever they want it. It's very easy for them to just pull it out and set it on the rug. And now we are over here. So I wanted to have an area where my kids can place all of their collection of wooden toys, all of their Ourplayroom pieces, and I wanted to have it in a way that it was displayed so that it's nice for them to be able to go straight to the item and play with them. It really does kind of beckon them to come and play as opposed to just keeping them up on some shelf that, they can't even reach or something. So I really, really loved these shelves because they're the perfect height. Even my little girl is able to reach there and play with the wooden toys. And it also has areas for us to place their items that basically correspond to the items on top. So it's really, really nice. And they are so much less expensive than a lot of the the more expensive ECR wooden shelves. So if you're looking for something that's a little less inexpensive, but still really good quality, I will go ahead and link these below. So as you can see over here, we have her Snow White cottage with her Snow White characters and her Alice in Wonderland characters. Down below, we have my son's wooden train set and all of his pieces that correspond. We also have their wooden castle that's here, so it's really nice. Like I said, I love keeping this area next to the rug because then whenever they want to play, they can just set everything up here and they don't have to carry things across the room, so it's really nice. We have their farm here. We have their play silks on the bottom. And then we have all of the wooden animals and the wooden trees here that can correspond to the farm. And then we have all of the castle setups up here. So we have the prison, we have the castle tower, we have the big door, we have the carriage. We have the Ourplayroom dragon's lair. And then we have our rainbow. And down below, we have the bigger item for his train set, like the train house. We have all of the kings, queens, knights, horses for the castles there. And like I said, all of the wooden animals are in the spin. So in the center of the room, we usually keep this out because it's basically my children's favorite thing. And they love being able to climb on it and to build obstacles. And my little girl loves being able to use the Pikler Triangle now, so she's always climbing on it. So for the most part, we always keep it out, but it's very easy to put away if we just want to fold it up. We usually stack the items in the back of the area where we keep the costumes, and then the only thing that we leave out is the cube, as that's a little bit bigger. But then that frees up this entire area for them to play. So just so you can see what it looks like when all of the climbers are not in the way and they've been stored, it really does leave a nice open space in the center for them to play. And that is it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this tour. I hope it gave you plenty of inspiration if you're planning out your own space. I love watching Playroom Tour videos. I know it gives me plenty of inspiration, and I hope it's done the same, and it's answered a lot of your questions. If you have questions on any of the items that you've seen here, please leave them in the comments below. There are just way too many items for me to list individually. But if you have a question on a specific item, then I have no problem getting that information for you. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope that you enjoyed this tour, and we will see you back here very, very soon.